What is up, guys? It's Mitch or Deity, and in this video we'll be covering the Moonlight Blessing 1. So Moonlight Blessing 1 hasn't changed too much, and there aren't going to be any characters that are getting buffed out of this patch for a while. So Moonlight Blessing 1 is a thing that you get. If you're watching this video, I'm sure you know, but you get to pick a Moonlight 5-star that you will fully unlock and have the full capabilities. It'll just be like a summoned character on your account after you finish the challenges that you get right at the beginning of the game. It's once you beat the first chapter, you can go in and pick a character. Now, the two best characters within this are going to be Arbiter Vildred and Spectre Tenebria. I highly suggest taking Spectre Tenebria if you're a newer player getting into the game. Now, if you want to really focus of getting into PvP later, I would say take Arbiter Vildred. So the reason for these two characters, Spectre Tenebria makes going through the game infinitely easier than Arby. Arby will make the beginning faster, but then he falls off at the end of the game. Once you get to chapter 3 and 4, he will end up dying a lot, and it's a lot harder to clear content with him compared to Spectre Tenebria. But Arbiter Vildred is the better end-game character because he's really good in PvP compared to Spectre Tenebria. But as a new player, Spectre Tenebria gives you an option for Guild Wars that's really good paired behind a tank and Dustina, which if you're following my guide, you will have all of the stuff you need to utilize her effectively. And using Spectre Tenebria, she has poison in her kit. Those poisons make all bosses, all just general content going through the game much easier, and she has stacking defense to keep her alive longer. So as enemies die, or as she attacks if you get her exclusive equipment, which is something in the game you'll learn about later, she becomes semi-bulky and is able to stay alive for a longer period of time while you're clearing bosses and just general content. So Spectre Tenebria is still, in my opinion, I've gone through with both in the last 2 months, and I still think Spectre Tierlist just makes the game so much easier to get into versus Arbiter Vildred. But now, Arbiter Vildred, he has exclusive equipment too that gives him extra damage when he revives, and he gives him evasion for 2 turns. So the way Arbiter Vildred works is he has an AoE skill that if you kill anything, it resets, similar to Free Spirit Tyria's skill 2. Now, it makes him really good for farming, and he does amazing damage. Now, with Arbiter Vildred, whenever he dies, he revives and gets full turn bar. So in PvP, if someone were to kill him, and he will revive, he gets the next turn generally, unless something cuts him, which is pretty rare. And then he will be able to use his skill 3 right away with the damage bonus, and he's usually used on an artifact that gives him attack buff or greater attack buff. So Arbiter Vildred for in-game players is much better than Spectre Tenebria. But if you're going through Epic 7 and trying to get into the game, I think Spectre Tenebria, you will have a much easier time, and you are more likely to stick with the game if you take Spectre Tenebria. So those are those two characters. I do have both characters there. I do use them on my main account. Spectre Tenebria I very rarely use, but this just shows like these are all characters that you are going to end up keeping and utilizing always. So there's my Spectre Tenebria build. I haven't used her in quite a while just because, like I said, Arbiter Vildred is going to be just a way better PvP character, so I do use him sometimes. So those two characters are pretty common. Now, the other characters are all kind of not so great for new players, but they are good in general. I have a weird Ruel of Light. She is a character that just got buffed recently. She's going to be the next one we talk about. She's a reviver, and she has the ability to where if she dies, she revives herself too, just like Arbiter Vildred, and gets extra turn bar, and she can revive another character with her skills, and she sets a thing called damage limit. She's a really good reviving support character. There are only a couple revivers in the game, and almost all of them are Moonlight characters, and she is one of the better options right now. And then we have our Moonlight Ken and Dark Corvus. So Dark Corvus is really good for new players in terms of Guild War. That's it. Outside of Guild War, he's pretty hard to use. There's no PvE use case for this character. This character just does damage depending on how much HP he has. He's really weak to injury, and there are a lot of injury characters in the game right now. So Dark Corvus just doesn't see a lot of play long term. And then one character I know you guys are going to be curious on is ML Ken. ML Ken's one of the reasons I started Epic 7, actually. I think he looks super cool. I have a kind of semi-weird build, so the idea on him is get him a little bit of effect rest, get as much crit damage as you can, or just overall attack plus crit damage. But my ML Ken was for surviving a certain thing and staying alive, so I have mine extremely bulky. I'm on HP ring. Generally, you're probably going to be on attack or effect res ring on him, but I have extreme bulk on him, and he does enough damage to kill what I needed him to kill in a certain PvP draft. fighting a certain type of player. So those are those two. And the last character is going to be Judge Kisei. And this character, I do not suggest anyone getting. She can be used for late game players, for high speed players, but this is just random gear I have on her. So those are the core characters, and this is the overall list. So Ruel would be my next pick if you say had Spectre Tiber and Arbiter Vilgid. I would pick Ruel. She's really good. Then from there, Dark Horse is okay. I think he could be used more than ML Ken in just overall general game. And then ML Ken and Judge Kisei, I do not suggest taking. I know they're both cool. Probably the two coolest characters are the worst right now. So these by far are the worst. Judge Kisei, I would say for newer players, this was probably the list, but these two are just in the same tier of not being great. But overall, I highly suggest taking Spectre Cheever Arby. Now, one thing with Moonlight Blessing is you get one free reset. Okay, and there are two different Moonlight Blessings in the game. This is the first one. The other one comes once you finish so many chapters of the story. You get to pick another one. And honestly, in 2025, I'm pretty sure we're going to have three. There will be another one we could do, which we'll go over all that when that comes out, if it does come out. But you get one free reset. So if you started the game with any of these characters, you can reset them. All right, you can reset and pick a different one, but you only get one. So one of the things that you can do is you can go through the game with Spectre Tenebria and then switch it to Arby. All right, you just never claim your Spectre Tenebria. You get her fully ready to unlock, and then you reset it, and you take Arby for once you're done with Abyss and the story and everything. That is an option. Another option is picking Arby to clear through the beginning of the story faster, and then once you get to chapter 3, resetting your Arby and taking Spectre Tenebria, and then you're stuck with Spectre Tenebria. So those are two different things you can do that could, just depending on what you would like to go through the game as. RB will speed at the beginning, Spectre Tenebria will speed up the end. So however you want to do it, either way is fine, but that is my suggestion on the Moonlight Blessing 1. So I will have a video going over Moonlight Blessing 2, pets, every single little thing I can think of in these shorter form videos as soon as I can get them up. But thank you for watching. If you have any specific video you want me to make, if you're following along the guide series, let me know. I will go in and try to make an in-depth thing for it. The only thing that I hate doing is Hell Raid and Labyrinth at the end of the game. Usually I make my guides up until Labyrinth and then I quit. Because you guys can figure out from there, because once you get to that portion of the game, everyone has so many different characters. It's a waste to tell you to build X crappy thing when you could just have used something you already had. So once you get to raid, I want you guys to do your own thing to an extent, figure out what works for you, what doesn't. But it's been Mitch or Deity. Thanks for watching. If you're new to the channel, if you want to subscribe, that'd be awesome. And I will see you all in the next video. Peace out.